Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. Yesterday we talked about Mary who had a little lamb. Well, this Mary, Mary, who's quite contrary, is not the same Mary. You know that the earliest version of Mary, Mary, quite contrary originated in England and was recorded in the Pretty Songbook, which is a collection of nursery rhymes published by Tommy Thumb, dating back to about 1744. Now, the origins of Mary, Mary, quite contrary are rather uncertain, and the meaning of the poem, as far as I'm concerned, is also somewhat confusing. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row? Yeah, seems to be a little bit all over the place as far as I'm concerned. Well, some say that Mary is referring to Mary Tudor, who was the first daughter of King Henry VIII, and she later became England's Queen Mary I. And some say that Mary is referring to Mary, Queen of Scots. And some say that Mary is referring to Mary, the mother of Jesus. Who knows? This poem seems to have raised more questions than answers. But let's talk about what we do know. What does contrary mean? Well, to be contrary means to be opposite in nature, in direction, or in meaning. And to be contrary also means to be perversely inclined to disagree or to do the opposite of what is expected or desires. So, someone who always disagrees with you could be considered contrary, or maybe even unbearable. Get it? Yeah, unbearable. Now, we all have probably met some contrary people or some unbearable people, and maybe even you have been contrary. I know that I've probably been contrary sometimes, and I probably have been difficult to deal with sometimes. I must admit that. So, how do you deal with difficult people? Do we ignore them? Do we fight with them and argue with them? Do we become just like them? Well, Jesus gave us some examples and ideas of what we should be doing to people that we don't always get along with. And they're very challenging words that he has to say to us. Luke chapter 6 is recorded this way. Jesus says, "Here is what I tell you who are listening. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who call down curses upon you. And pray for those who treat you badly. Suppose someone slaps you on one cheek. Well, let them slap you on the other cheek as well. And suppose someone takes your coat. Well, don't stop them from taking your shirt as well. Give to everyone who asks you. And if anyone takes what belongs to you, don't ask to get it back. Do to others as you want them to do to you." Those are some very interesting and difficult words to follow, I think. But it is important to remember that as followers of Jesus, our responses to difficult people may be different than how other people respond. 1 Peter 3 verse 9 says, "Don't pay back evil with evil, and don't pay back unkind words with unkind words. Instead, pay back evil with kind words. This is what you have been chosen to do, and you will receive a blessing by doing this." So I need to remember that I don't want to be a difficult person. I don't want to be a contrary person, but I do need to be honest with myself. And I need to remember this. Romans 12 verse 3 reminds me that God's grace has been given to me. So Paul says, "Here is what I say to every one of you. Don't think of yourself more highly than you should. Be reasonable when you think about yourself. Keep in mind the faith God has given to each one of us." So, I have received love and forgiveness from God. You have as well. And I need to treat other people with love and forgiveness, even if they are being unreasonable, even if they are being contrary, even if they are being unbearable. Galatians 5:14 says, "The whole law is fulfilled by obeying this one command. Love your neighbor as you love yourself." You know, here are some really good proverbs from the book of Proverbs that help me handle my frustrations with difficult people or with people who could upset me. Proverbs 12:16. Foolish people are easily upset, but wise people pay no attention to hurtful words. Proverbs 10:12. Hate stirs up fights, but love erases all sins by forgiving them. And Proverbs 17:14. Starting to argue is like making a crack in a dam, so drop the matter before a fight breaks out. You know, Mary and other people may be contrary, but I don't have to let that bother me. Today, I hope that you don't meet too many contrary people. But if you do, treat them with love and kindness, just as you would want to be treated. So have a day that's filled with joy and a day that's filled with peace.